Hello and welcome to Kindred Rhinos. This is part 2 of episode 2. The last part that we recorded, we talked about how to stay connected with friends. There's quite a few free ways that you can stay connected. And in this episode, we explore a little bit more of the free options as well as some paid options of, playing some party games and doing some movie watches all together. And we wrap that all up with a little bit more of a discussion around mental health and keeping connected. Are you ready for part 2 of episode 2? I know I am, so let's jump right into it.
Mikey and Stitchy, you guys are more of the gamers, like, right? Like, you guys have systems that you play, and I think that was something I wanted to bring up because y'all are much more knowledgeable. I still have a GameCube, so I'm not very on the edge, of the cutting edge of video games. But what kind of games can y'all play on there that you can share that social element?
Do you want to go first, Stitchy, or do you want me to go?
Um, well, I've been in school, so I've been kind of limited to the amount of games I can play. There is one game I've been playing on and off for the past year. Well, there's a couple games, but the one with like an actual social element, um, I actually found off of some of those like awful Facebook ads that you see. Um, and
They're only
background.
awful when they're not true. Like
And that's the problem. It's not.
Oh,
It
no.
wasn't true. It was like the gameplay that I thought I was getting completely different than what the game actually is. But it was one of those like emperor collecting type of games, and you have like your city, and you have your ministers, and you have like consorts. But that game got me connected with actually a good number of really cool people that like even though I don't really play the game as often, I'm actually going to do a game night with them with a girl and her sister that I met through this game.
Oh, that's cool.
And we're gonna they're in Ohio, so I'm going to order pizza. We're gonna order the same pizza and then go on Discord to talk and then play Among Us.
Nice.
So that's the plan for the rest of my night after this.
That's awesome.
Yeah. What about you?
I want pizza.
Me too.
Yeah, so I mean, we have a variety of different like consoles, right? So I think between me and Cree, like we enjoy playing video games together, and there's a lot of different games that have like multiplayer, and there's some free ones that are pretty good. I think one of them that kind of got the same amount of popularity as Among Us was called Fall Guys, and it's just really like I don't even know how to explain it, because like you have these little like jelly bean like characters, right? And they put like 60 of you in a lobby, and there are all kinds of different levels where you're either like racing each other or you're trying to like survive different scenarios and stuff, and it's kind of there's some team based levels, and then there's some that are just like you're on your own and you just got to survive against everybody else, right? And it's so wacky and so unpredictable, because all the levels have all these different traps, and like you can grab onto other people and like prevent them from like making progress. Some of the levels you're trying to gather like as many balls in your area, right, as possible, but you can also go to other people's areas and just take their balls, which is something I enjoy doing because I'm that type of gamer. So there's a lot of different ways to play like Fall Guys, and it's super fun to play with other people. And at least on the PlayStation, I think it was one of the months it came out like completely free, and I don't know if you have to pay a little bit to play it now, but I've had several friends and even like some work colleagues that have gotten Fall Guys and have enjoyed it. We actually even played with Kim and her son one day, and we had tons of fun. It's very kid friendly too, so like families can be involved in it too, and it's just really fun to see people just trying to make it to the end of the level, but then hilariously fall in like 20 different ways. Whether you get hit by a fan or somebody throws you off or whatever.
It reminds me of Wipeout, right? Like the
Right.
Yeah,
Definitely.
exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
I think it's kind of funny though, because that Mikey's like, oh, it's family friendly, and I'm like, Among Us and Fall Guys is like very deceiving in the sense that super cute, looks super adorable, and then you're like, no, you got to have a little bit of, well, at least for Fall Guys, a little bit of skill to this too. But I know also another free game. Just Mike and our nephews have Blockus or something, or it's a mix of like Terraria or blocks and things like that, and it's very similar, and that's free too. And it actually was before Fall Guys, and they play it on their iPads, and I see them like walking these little, we saw them walking across
Roblox,
logs.
right?
Oh, Roblox. Okay, thank you,
Roblox.
Mike. Yeah, and so our nephews just love that, and I was watching it, and I'm always fascinated with their little minds, right, at 5 or 6, and like the concepts they're grasping on the video game, that I'm like, would I have figured that out at that age, like back in the day, or is he like just super smart? Of course, my brother's just gonna reply, yeah, he's super smart.
He is super smart. He's super smart.
So,
I'm telling you.
which they are, but it's crazy, that joke of, it's crazy to see someone with not like a 18-month, a year and a half, and they're picking up an iPad and like understanding concepts. My nephews, it was also like the same thing, where they understand the red X versus the green circle and stuff, at a very early age. So that's very interesting. But yeah, Roblox was another game that's similar, and I think it's free for those. And you play with, there's a lot of other people in the lobby, but that's partially Fall Guys.
Yeah, like
Sorry.
with you saying that reminds me, like, Fortnite used to be like a big phenomenon too, right? Like, just
That's
absolutely blew up. Like it was a free game. It actually started off as not as a battle royale, which interested me in Cree, right? Because we were like, oh, this is kind of cool. There's like a kind of a zombie survival type game towards this, and they never finished it for a few years, and they instead focused on the battle royale part. But when Cree was saying how kids nowadays are like so talented and skilled and they know how to do stuff, like if you ever play a battle royale game like Fortnite and you actually go in, you'll see like all these little kids able to just like create stuff, like because you get to build stuff in this battle royale game, so you use like resources to build walls and like towers and stuff to protect yourself and all that, and I can't do that. I'm sure I could if I like practice more, but I think there's a lot of like kids that pick that up like really easily. But Fortnite has been a game that has connected a lot of people, especially a lot of kids. So that's also a pretty good free option.
A quick note is the battle royale, because I just remember I'm hearing my brother's voice in my head. What is a battle royale? Like,
yeah.
What is a battle royale?
Oh, you want me to answer it?
Define that, yeah.
Yeah, so like a battle royale game is you either are teamed up with other people or you go on your own. So you have teams of like 1, 2, or 4, or 3 people or whatever, right? And you're competing against other teams, kind of against the clock, because after some time there's kind of a boundary on the level, and usually it's kind of like a circle boundary, right? So like every few minutes that boundary closes, so like you're going closer and closer together in a very small area, but during all that time you're trying to like eliminate the other teams by killing them or like getting them to
so last man standing.
Yeah, so it's kind of a last man standing type of thing, and it just gets harder and harder as the circle tightens in the level. And Fortnite, it's even harder because people can build stuff, and it's hard to get people. That's what I struggle with. Like, I can't actually hit people because people build stuff like really quickly, and I'm like, well, I'm not that skilled. But you know, there are other battle royale type games. I mean, there's like Call of Duty, right? Like, this is more adult like, and you know, for the bigger kids. You know, it's kind of the same concept, but it's with more like realistic, like military type weapons and stuff. And then there's like Apex Legends, which is something me and Cree play a good amount of the time. It's also free. It's kind of a mix between Fortnite and Call of Duty. It's like it has some, you know, like military type guns and stuff, but it's kind of more, I don't know, like fantasy type-ish. I mean, like the levels are more futuristic and not like Call of Duty. I don't know exactly how to describe it. It's just, it's a mix between the two, and you don't have to build stuff, which I like because I don't like building stuff. So we have a lot of fun with that. We've got several friends that we play with, and it's a great game across different platforms, because now you can play with people that are on the Xbox or on the PC, or pretty soon it's going to be on the Switch as well. And that's kind of a cool thing, to have games that are across different consoles, because if you would have talked about this, I don't know, maybe a few years ago, nothing connected with each other. Like, Xbox players could only play on Xbox, and PlayStation only on PlayStation. So like, that was a big thing that those companies pushed. They're like, yeah, play on our console. It's the best console. Whereas now, like, you can play with anybody because your friends probably are on different consoles, right? So, and it gives access to, you know, a whole range of people, even people are playing on like mobile phones and stuff. Like, it's crazy. So,
Pretty
there's,
awesome.
yeah, no, it's even though I don't know how like to play on a mobile phone, like it's very difficult. But a lot of people are really skilled, and I think there's actually like different like accessories and stuff
Yeah.
that you can connect, like with a controller and stuff. It's like hardcore stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, you can get
Building
as
your own
hardcore,
Nintendo Switch, but not Nintendo Switch.
yeah,
It's a mobile game or whatever.
based on your phone. So yeah, I think those are great ways to connect with, you know, your friends too, because chances are somebody has some kind of console, you know, and you know, it's a great way to connect.
So that is just a few of the free activities that you can do with your friends. The last one I was actually thinking of that still kind of gets you out in the real world is you could do Pokemon Go on your phone, and you catch some Pokemon out in the real world where other people are safely distanced away from you, and you know, just be able to kind of explore your town that way. So
You can do it from your car too.
you can do it from your car as well, yes. And as the non-driver, but
Of course, you got it.
That's a good point, though. A lot of my friends, we have revised like what games we used to play, I don't know, 8 years ago, like Words with Friends and like apps like that. There's a drawing one that are
Yeah.
free that we used to play like right the first time we got smartphones, we were all playing, and now we've reconnected with those. So that's true. Good point.
Yeah,
Your
so
phone has lots of games.
like, you know, and there's always more free activities. So, you know, comments, tell us more about different free activities that you guys like, and you know, we'll continue trying to throw that out on social media just to have that out for you guys to have a lot of different options for that. So, of course, we're here talking about the pandemic first. You know, our podcast is not just going to be all about the pandemic, but we're talking about how to stay connected with our friends. And we gave a lot of free options, but we also have a lot of paid options out there. Not too much, but you know, some of them are, you know, $10-15, and then of course there's other investments you can make. So like we said in the last one, you know, you can look into the free activities, and if you seem to be enjoying it, or you have a group of friends willing to do it and split the costs, things like that, there's some great paid activities out there. We mentioned the Ernie games, and I think Mike can talk a little bit more about, or Kim. I was like, or Kim and Stitch.
One of the biggest pack of games that we do is called Jackbox Games, and they have a, what are they up to? They're up to their 7th pack. So each pack has a bunch of different games that everybody can kind of participate in. Usually they're anywhere from like 3 to 8 players is the optimal amount, but you can also have people join an audience, and they can also influence some of the answers and some of the results and stuff. So I mean, within each pack, I think there's about 5 different games, and I think we all have kind of our favorites. And I'll ask everybody what their favorites are, but I think my absolute favorite one is called Bidiots, and it's in Jackbox Party Pack 2. And in this game, you get to draw different things. Like, they prompt you 2 times to draw something, and usually what you have to draw is something very similar to somebody else's drawings. So, like, for example, I remember one time I had to draw a Taylor Swift concert, but then the other prompts that other people had were like, draw a Shania Twain concert, or like draw a Lady Gaga concert. So like it ended up that everybody had something very similar, and you just didn't know what exactly it was. And this mattered because whenever you put up your artwork for bidding, you get a couple of hints on like, this painting is worth a lot. Like, so for example, maybe the Lady Gaga concert drawing is worth a lot, right? But then when you look at some of the pictures, you're like, this could be anything. Like, this could be like the same, this could be different. So like,
And and then you have the other hint that's Madonna concert is only $600, and so you're
right.
like, do I risk this? I was like, do I risk that this is Shania Twain, or is this Madonna, and things like that, or lady talking in front of audience.
So you end up kind of giving, like, you have to use your best guesstimate, I guess, to determine whether it is the painting that is worth a lot. Or you can be influenced by the people that are bidding, because a lot of people could just start bidding up like the painting, right? And then you're like, oh, I need to get on this action. This must be like a painting that's worth a lot. And most of the time, like, that's the correct strategy. But sometimes the person that made the painting is just boosting up the price because they get part of the money too. So like there's a level of like strategy and stuff. So this is probably my absolute favorite out of the Jackbox games. And I know that everyone probably does have their favorites. So I don't know if Kim, like, out of all the Jackbox games that we've played, because we've had what, 3 or 4 different packs that we've played, like, what's your favorite?
My favorite is Drawful, which is another. I like the drawing ones because I enjoy drawing, and it reminds me of my Pictionary nights that I used to have a million years ago with my friends. So, Drawful is a game where you get a prompt and you have to draw it, and then everyone who's playing has to think of what your prompt was, right? So, like, let's say it was, Taylor Swift at a concert. That everyone's going to come up with what is like either a funny guess or a guess to try to make other people think that that's what it was. And then the way you win is like the more people who know exactly what you draw, you can get points that way. Other people get points for getting like tricking people into what they thought it was. And I really just like that part. I think that's the one that makes me laugh the most, is seeing our drawings and seeing what we came up with. I love that. And I think the Jackbox games, it's interesting because I had some friends who would use them in like real life. Like before COVID, you could use it like on your TV and stuff and play in that way. And so I think it's awesome now that we can play online and have like a seemingly similar experience, which I really love. So anyway, my answer is Drawful. What about you guys? Stitchy, what do you like?
Did I leave TKO for Audit?
Oh no, it's fine.
Shirt.
No, you can talk about it. That's totally fine.
I really like TKO. So you're basically designing a T-shirt, and you don't have a prompt or anything. You just draw whatever you want, and you put that artwork out, and then you start coming out with like phrases. They can be funny, they can be inside jokes, um, and then it gets scrambled up, and you get a bunch of your friends' drawings, and you design the shirt, and you mix and match with the drawings and the funny sayings, and then it goes like soccer tournament style, where they go head to head, and you come up with the best shirt design that was picked by one of the players. And I like it, and I like that at the end you can actually order the shirts that you made. They are kind of pricey, but like Ate is wearing one of them right now, which is super cute and drawn by Kim. So I like it because it lasts. Like it's one of those things that you can like have a memory, and it's something tangible that you can hold on with you. I think that's kind of cool.
And I will say also, you can save the pictures too that way, very easily, and it shows like to tweet it, but you can literally save the image as an image on your phone, and grab that then. So that's actually something we use Discord for, is like we share all those photos so that everyone kind of has a memory of that too. I will say a couple of things about the shirts. The dark blue one is very stiff and very thick. That one I got from Mike. And the gray one is actually really comfortable. So
oh, come on, guys.
What?
I didn't say it.
They just started laughing.
I'm
We all
sorry.
know why.
Now,
Because the shirt was uncomfortable. That's why.
but anyway, I will say one thing with the Jackbox games, is you do have to have two kinds of screens. Either you can have a computer, but it's usually that does both. But you can have a computer or a tablet, and then another one that you can draw on, which is either another tablet or phone. Cherie's hiding her lack of innocence behind the child.
I'm cool. I'm
gonna be
cool.
No, she's
So-
just thinking about how uncomfortable that shirt is. That's
I will say that the some of the shirts are a little bit less tangible. They're thick, thick material, and so it feels a little bit more boxy, I guess. Anyway,
I mean, I guess as long as you can save the design, you could go back and like make
You
your
could-
own like sweatshirt or something.
yeah,
Yeah.
you could definitely do something to that.
Or like,
Capacity.
make postcards, and we'll just send out postcards to all our friends with the designs.
That's a good
That'd
idea.
be
good idea.
That's a cute
That's
idea.
a great idea.
So a little bit more on the Jackbox games, since we're going to get sponsored by them, since we mentioned them so much, right? But the Jackbox games come in 7 party packs, but they also have bundles of like 1, 2, 3 together and 4, 5, 6 together, and then they jam another one of like 1 through 4 as a quad pack, and then 1 through 5 as a quint pack. But they just recently came out with 7, which we noticed we actually did try a little bit of that, and there were some very like time appropriate. What's great is when they're creating it in time with like everything that happens around the world. So there was like things that are just very appropriate for like the world we live in now, and things that have been happening. So that's pretty cool. They do have standalone titles that are good, like Kim's Drawful. They have a Drawful 2 now too, and Quiplash, Fibbage. I just love playing all these games. It's fun to kind of pick your friends' like brains a little bit. You kind of get to hear more. There's a couple of games that actually are really good when you've been playing for a while together. That you can kind of anticipate, like, oh, this is funny, or oh, this is an inside joke, or things like that. Or, but there was one game, and I'm trying to remember the name of it. I'm trying to look it up. That's why I keep on looking back at my screen. But
Are you thinking of Fibbage 3? The one that's like more personalized?
Well,
or,
Fibbage 3 is pretty good, yeah.
Or not Fibbage, or was it
or-
Fibbage or Quiplash?
It was Fibbage.
I can't remember.
But
Fibbage? Okay.
what Fibbage, one of the Fibbage 3 is very appropriate to like, you kind of lie about your friends instead of, so Fibbage, the premise of Fibbage is that you all submit lies and there's one truth out there, and so you're trying to find out what that truth is. And so it'll be like wacky facts and things like that, and it'll be like, for example, they have what is Curious as George's name before it was George, and so it has all these names that you come up with, and then it has the right answer, and the right answer usually is just a little quirky. It's not necessarily so with George, it was a female name, and your friends are probably just going like, oh, it's just Bob, and things like that. And so you're trying to get points by them selecting your fib, but then you also try to get points by choosing the right answer. And if you choose the wrong answer, of course, that points goes to whoever said that lie, essentially. It seems like a lot of our games are dealing with like deception and things like that, but it's fun. It's all in good fun, all safe and fun, healthy games. And there's some that are more involved than drawing. Some of them you have to actually upsell something. So they're one of the games that you can draw these different items and you're selling them then, like, and there were some other good ones on there, but Civic Doodle, for example, is one where you draw and you're trying to draw for the different cities that you're thrown in there. Patently Stupid is the one where you make up a quote-unquote dumb invention and you have to draw it and then sell it to your friends, and so you get points by people liking it or not liking it, things like that. There's also like Joke Boat and Madverse City, which are a lot more, you have to come up with random jokes or things like that. Some of them have a little bit more meat to them in terms of how much you have to put into it, but they're all a lot of really good Jackbox games. So but besides that, there are also other paid activities, not just the Jackbox games, but there's like a tabletop simulator, things like that. Mike can talk more about the tabletop simulator.
Yeah, so the tabletop simulator, it's something that you can get on Steam, so you would need like a PC to use it. But for $20, it gives you access to a lot of different board games that you normally, would need to be in person to play. So like, for example, Settlers of Catan, right? That's something normally you would, play in person. But with this tabletop simulator, it gives you the ability to create a mod and basically create an automated like version of the game. So I think me and Kim and Veronica and Ernie, we were testing it one time, and we were able to, see all the different pieces on the table. Like it looked exactly like the game, because people literally just take images of the game pieces and they put it all together and they make it automated, and it works. So there's a lot of different mods that you can download and test out. So there's the ability to play a whole bunch of different board games and stuff that you normally would not be able to do, because it's it's harder to put in, I guess, the board game type of what am I trying to say, like it's hard to put in board games basically and have them be able to be played by multiple people. Like it's easier for something like Code Names, for example, right? Like I don't think there's as many moving pieces and parts, but with all these different board games, there's a lot of different moving pieces. And you can even play like Dungeons and Dragons type scenarios and stuff on Tabletop Simulator too. So that's something that I've seen other people do.
We still owe us.
Yeah, I know. I do. I have a story in mind. It's just we have to decide on a date, and I have to somehow find enough time to do it.
Yes.
But
that is more involved. Speaking of games that are more involved, yeah, there's definitely like a Dungeons and Dragons kind of game is definitely something you can get way more involved in. So just more time. But there's ways to play it online like never before.
Yeah.
So that's pretty cool.
And
Yeah.
the tabletop simulator, Mike mentions $20, but there was actually a 4-pack. Mike, is that all the time, or is that 4-pack only a limited time?
From time to time, there's deals. So I think I got the 4-pack for about
You guys pay
$44, I think.
Yeah.
So for 4 people, that's $11 each. So that's less than the $20, right? So I know Kim's like, yeah, of course,
Yes, it
yeah,
is.
11 is less than 20. Yeah,
I'm not
of
a
course.
math genius, but
Yeah,
yes, it is.
Not a mathlete.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, I mean, tabletop simulator is a great way. If it does involve more work to like figure out how it's supposed to be used, right? Because you'll go into a game and you're like, how do I do this? Like sometimes they don't even give you any kind of guide, so you're just like, well, I guess I'll move this piece here or whatever, and figure it out. I think my favorite feature of that is you can flip the table. So in real life, you normally can't do that because you'll ruin everybody's progress, right? And you'll look overly angry if you just flip the table. But digitally, you can flip the table and then you can just rewind, 10 seconds, and it's like nothing ever happened.
So I didn't know there was a rewind.
Yeah, there's a rewind. So like if you mess up in a board game or you want to go back, you can do that, which is
great.
Really cool.
I mean, that's what in real life, and you're just like reaching out, and you're like, I don't remember if these were in Africa or they were in Europe, but they're all in one little club now, and so that's really cool to have a rewind feature on that. I will say I've watched them play it sometimes, and I get very amused because pizza party is one of my favorite things to watch with them. Literally, it's a pizza and like soda, and that's all. Like it's a box of pizza. It's not a game, really. It's just literally a real life simulation of pizza in a box in front of them, and they're having a pizza party on the table.
They have plates. You got to open the box first, so that you can get to the pizza, and then you got to hand the pizza out on the plates, or you can just put it on the table.
Well, one thing that just amuses me all the time is Mike never fails to put a soda on a piece of pizza and just like carries it up and down, and it's just really funny to watch. But I think again, the great thing about this, like we're talking about paid activities.
Stitchy's looking at us like we're crazy.
Yeah,
she hasn't experienced this yet.
But we were, talking about paid activities, things like that. But really, it's just to have a great group of friends to do it with too, or family. I was talking to Mike about the one that was Quiplash that was talking about, what is a fibbage? Sorry. What is, it would say, what is Stitchy's favorite drink? And so we're all like putting down like very bizarre answers or whatever. And she has her truthful answer, of course, and it's like water and, all these other things. Apparently beaver butts, vanilla or whatever. Is it beaver? Was that what we learned? Anyway, in a side conversation, we discovered that beaver butts apparently excrete a vanilla flavor, which could possibly be your natural flavors in your drinks. So, to bring that up with the favorite drinks, but that's an example is, you might not know that about Stitchy unless you've spent time with them. And so that's a great thing for family. And I think Mike's laughing because I got beaver butts into the podcast.
I was not expecting you to get that in there, but you were determined, and you got it in there.
I get the
disclaimer.
Wacky facts,
I don't actually enjoy beaver butts. Just in case people are getting the wrong idea, I don't.
No, she does not. Yes, she does not condone this.
It's orange juice.
I will say
favorite drink is orange juice. Okay.
I will say the that the four of us definitely were like, why don't you just extract it from a vanilla plan? But yes, Mikey has a Minute Maid orange juice. I'm thinking of all of the
And I
different
drink it with a
product
straw like a little
placement.
kid.
It's like, how much product placement can we get so we can get sponsored and do more
Right.
fun things?
Sponsored, not sponsored.
So
We're not gonna have to like blur it out or like make an alternate name for it. Instead of Minute Maid, do I have to call it like Hour Maid? Orange juice, you know, like
Time wench.
That's good. That's good. I like it.
Have you had your time lunch today?
Time wench orange juice.
Mm-mm.
But of course, there's other paid activities. You know, we kind of mentioned it a bunch about like Netflix and things like that. But you know, doing watch parties. There's Netflix watch parties. Amazon Prime has it. I know Facebook has it, and Disney Plus. I know we've kind of tried to dabble in all of them to understand what it is, and I haven't done an official Netflix party. My brother and I just played Plus Play at the same time, and I discovered, you know, I have ads and he didn't for what we were watching, so it was he'd have to pause his video until I was out of the advertisement and then continue again, which is a little difficult to do when, you know, he's all the way in Singapore and I'm here, and the internet's not always so great. So there's definitely some lag sometimes, but it was nice to be able to watch. We watched Picard, which is CBS Access, but apparently, at least in his country, that's another thing. In his country, he could watch it for free on what he was doing, and then for me, I'm like, I have to watch it with ads. So that's just something to think about when you're also trying to do this with family outside of the country. They might have different regulations. I know that different Netflix, like our friend in Canada, even he had this show on his Netflix that we didn't have access to, and things like that. So, you know, like it's different catching up with friends about, you know, watching a show or watching it together. Actually, Kim and Stitchy watched together last night, I believe.
Yes, we did.
I don't know if you guys want to talk about the features or like how that went and how, you know, in terms of watching it together, communicating with each other, as well as watching the show without any spoilers, obviously. But if you want to talk about that experience of screen sharing and whatnot that you did.
don't
Like,
all talk at
like,
once.
Go ahead. I'm waiting for you.
Yeah, so we so this was my second time doing a group watch party on Disney Plus. Yesterday we had Ernie, Kim, and me watch the second episode of the second season of Mandalorian. We had our voice chat on in Discord at the same time because I'm one of those awful people that like to comment throughout the entire show. I'm sorry, but I am.
Same.
Right, and it's a lot of fun to watch with friends. People
So-
have
so with Disney Plus, you're only sharing a screen. You guys don't have anything audio unless you connect to a different app. Is that what you're saying?
Right. So there's no shared audio. It's the only way we could hear each other was through Discord, and you have a link. You click it. You can sign in on your Disney Plus account. So if I had it on my tablet, so I opened it up and it was just in my app, and it's kind of cool because once you're all in the stream together, you can like change it. So Ernie and I were watching, and then Kim showed up, so we rewound it. And even though Ernie was hosting, I could like adjust where we were, and like I could pause it and press play. So it was nice. It was constantly syncing to make sure we were all watching the same part at the same time. So
I would say so. It's something you don't want to bring us Lermas to, because Mikey and I, we live to be a little bit impish, and you know, we would probably just change the time and like be like, I'm impish, like mischief. Yes, would you? I don't know. You know, just pause, rewind, things like that. Anyway,
Maybe
But
for something that
on
we've watched
reflection.
before, but not for like a new episode because everybody would yell at me.
I feel like that wouldn't
I
stop
still
you,
would
though.
though. Like,
that wouldn't stop
it
you.
stops it stops Mikey apparently, but I no, I have a lot of unmitigated malice in me.
Next time we're gonna get
to harass my
uninvited.
friends. Yeah.
On reflection, I'm glad you didn't show up to last night's one because there were a lot of scenes that I do not want rewound and rewatched. That was a rough episode to go through.
We learned something now. We're going. Yeah. You all are not invited to the next one. Just saying. But yeah, the benefit is that it synchronizes, right? That's the benefit.
Yeah,
and,
that's awesome. Yeah, I mean, what was it like a year ago? It's just like, okay, guys, let's watch this together and press play. But of course, with the pandemic, they really mainline sharing it together, which is great. But I know also we did an Amazon Prime one with our cousins, and it took a lot of like switching back and forth and things like that to be able to actually watch it together. Like, at least for Amazon Prime, everyone has to have an account, and I think Stitchy said that for Disney Plus too. And so that there are some apps out there that I guess you could just kind of screen share. But then, like, I know for Amazon Prime that it says, oh, you must have Amazon Prime in order to, like, even just sharing my screen with them. They've been able to, which is great for them because it protects their, branding and everything. But it'll say, oh, yeah, you don't have the license to watch this. So that's kind of like cool and crazy.
We didn't try doing that off of Facebook first.
Well, I mean, it's just easier too, right? To do it on something that you know and something that's familiar. So
sure. I
think that's great. If thank you for explaining the watch parties and like how that went. But I would say, like, if you guys have any other options or the audience of different watch parties that they've tried, things like that work well. But yeah, I know that there's a couple of other apps out there that share and stuff like that. But that's kind of the thing, though, with all these paid activities and with the pandemic and all that, it seems that there's so many apps, right? So that's another thing, is just you also have to have friends that are okay with downloading all these new apps, trying new things with you, spending time with you, and of course, you guys were actually talking about the tabletop simulator and Dungeons and Dragons earlier, but it's also, it's that investment of time, and we all kind of gained back some time in terms of we don't necessarily have to have a commute, although other places in the country, I know that they're meeting in person again, and so there is a commute again. And so how do you keep this bond going once everyone is getting busier again, as things start to return back to a new normal? I think for me especially, but Mike too, we talked about, how do you not overwhelm your friends also to be like, I want to talk to you every night because I miss you, or like, is a week too much to be talking to you? Like, one of our friends just had a baby, and I know that both him and his wife are now both going back to work too, and so they're dealing with learning how to mitigate like daycare and things like that, and and so for us, it's just okay. With them, it's great. We text them a lot, and that's really good. And then, for like a couple hours every few months is what we do for like our video chats, and and that's enough. And it's great to have friends that, again, you could do that with. There's some, like Mikey and Kim mentioned how you guys just picked up where you left off, and it was like no time had passed, and then but I was talking to Mike, like, how do you communicate and be with people that you haven't been with it for a while, but realize, oh, it's great. And, I said last time, Kim's like relationship with me was very organic, very, we just kindred spirits very quickly, and hence the name, right?
Kindred Rhinos, really.
But with that, how do you find that balance too? So that is definitely something else to think about as you're thinking of your mental illness, or not mental illness, your mental abilities. Sorry, I wasn't saying Kim. Sorry. Your mental well-being. Okay. As I talk about your mental well-being and your time with friends, so there's also the reaching out to friends, helping out with their mental mood, essentially. How do you help
like their
reach out to
anxiety, their
others?
depression, and all that. Yeah.
Everyone just, I'm sorry guys, everyone just
You
laughs
okay,
at
Kim?
me.
You okay, Kim?
Between the accidental double entendres and the accidental
her mental illness.
everything. That is my mental.
I'm kidding.
That was so funny.
Hey, I embrace that I have mental illnesses, right?
That's good.
I'm impressioning. I'm imprinting on all of you.
Oh, but I wanted to say one of the things that I think has worked well with the game nights, right? Because I think that you're bringing up a good question. How do you do that? How do you know what the right amount of connectedness is? How do you know or continue that relationship so that it fosters and grows? And I think one of the cool things about our game nights that we have, and it's pretty much every week, is that it's very open. There's no like hurt feelings if you don't show up, or if you can't show up, or if your internet breaks down that day or whatever. And I think one of our methodologies was that it's like, show up, bring a friend, show up, invite someone. And that was kind of at least my personal way that I was thinking of it, is like, okay, now I know like the room, which of my friends would like to join this room, and who would get along with these people. And that's kind of what I've tried to do like every other week. Let me just invite someone new, and maybe they come, maybe they don't, maybe they get something out of it. Maybe they just have a laugh, and that's good enough. I know like I've invited my brother, I've invited some old friends of mine, some new friends of mine, and just, even if they could show up one time, like I said, it's just something that I think helps show other people that there are ways to connect too. And it's just like like any kind of dinner party that you would normally have. You think about like who's going to get invited and who would enjoy it. But the cool thing is that at least with the games that we play, you don't really have to have a special skill or like be really smart or anything like that. And so anyone can join. And I feel like that's how I've made friends with Stitchy. I feel like she's my little sister, and I connected with her on just playing like these silly little games. And we come up with the same answers, and that I feel like, that's a connection.
So many.
Right, I do think it's funny because you're like, oh, you don't need any special skills. Ironically, Stitchy has great drawing skills, and so, but we tease her for that because like her drawing will come up and we're like, oh, of course it's her drawing.
They're
and of
going
course
to be on the
it's out
video
of
podcast.
jest,
I'm going to show them.
Right.
No.
That's true. We
Save
did
some
save
of
it.
them.
The Ernie games has been saved. We have preserved
Your artwork
them.
is like, they're masterpieces, and you
Yeah.
make them within like a minute.
Right.
Where like I draw a stick figure.
You guys
Only
are
like
highly biased.
No, I will say you did draw Robbie the Rhino though, and he is a great mascot.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, but it took
he's
me
not a
like
stick
hours
figure
to do.
I like his thighs, his back thighs.
Yeah, it's
And rhinos are hard
Kindred
to draw.
Rhino, man.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I tried, and no.
I will say that Stitchy did try to draw a rhino and sent it to me and Mikey, and I think
I need to see it.
I think
It's
she was
awful.
probably drawing in
It's
her
awful.
left hand, like with her eyes closed or something, to make her
It's
Kuya
so
feel
bad.
better.
It was
No,
so
not
bad.
because it was so bad in the sense I don't believe she did it didn't do it on purpose.
Have you
is what
ever
I'm
seen
saying.
those memes that are like, of course I've seen what a horse looks like, and they like draw the eyes all weird or whatever.
Oh yeah.
Or like a front side of it, and like
Yeah.
yeah.
I pretty much drew a capybara. Like I
Oh,
looked at
I love
it,
them.
but it's not a rhino.
It is not the same. Not the same.
But it was cute.
Wasn't
It
a
was-
rhino. Rhinos are
Don't
hard.
worry, I had to look and I had to like analyze and like I had to become a rhino in order
Wow.
to draw the rhino. You know,
See, that's
Be the
dedication.
rhino. So that's a list of kind of some paid activities that we could do together, do with friends. And if you guys have any ideas, just share them with us. Share it on our social media. Even like there's stuff that you could do that's like little to no cost, right? Sending a postcard or a letter in the mail. We talked about that too, and that's a great way to connect as well. Anything else from you guys? Otherwise, like, share, subscribe, and tell
if you
all
feel
your
inspired,
friends.
you should join us for game nights.
Yes, I was gonna say.
know?
I was thinking about the new Jackbox, party pack that we bought, and it has the ability of having an audience member size of 100,000. That's literally what it says in the Jackbox game. So that could be something in the future that obviously it would be
100,000?
awesome that we have 100,000. Or
You mean
but
I can tell 100,000 people about my astounding corn?
yes, you can.
Because
Or your
Wasn't it
magical
What was it?
carrots.
It was
or carrots,
carrots?
yeah, it wasn't
Yeah.
corn, it was carrots.
Carrots.
Yeah, I already
Carrots
forget,
can
but
help you find-
my astounding carrots that are going to space on rockets.
Yes. So
I don't
I wish I
even know
recorded that.
100,000 people.
right. It's the rule of 6 degrees of separation,
Do I
right?
even know 100 people?
At some point,
Nope.
according to Facebook, 100 people, but
Hey.
they're all catfishing you.
Oh. Well,
No,
I do like catfish.
you
though,
have
so-
3. You do have 3 of us that are real, at least.
at least.
Are you sure? I mean, you guys could be imposters.
It's true.
Sounds sus.
This is sus. But yeah, if you guys also have any ideas on different things you'd like us to talk about, different ideas, Michael can talk about on his Michael's Minute that we didn't give him, but
Conveniently, it has not been included.
But just tell your friends, and we thank you. This is us signing off, and see you next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.